number 1 to 50, I find was quite difficult initially because those questions were more confusing because options I was able to, figure out two best options. But again, the situation was which one is the right. Okay. So those 40, 50 questions was something which I was like not confident. From question number 50 to 150, I was confident that yes, all these answers are correct. So I know that I am going to pass the exam at that point of view, but I was not sure like what score I am going to get because even if you know know the concepts are clear, but you don't know like which answer is correct as per the ISACA. And if I say the challenge that I have faced is balancing your work and definitely with your work, your personal life and the certification is something which is very crucial. So you need to plan your entire study in such a way that you give at least 2 hours per day and be consistent. That consistency is something which I would say play a very important role. So like initial phase, my first phase of preparation was I followed a very standard, strategy that most of the people use. Like I started with the domain wise, video lectures. I moved to the CRM. So CRM, I didn't went, a very thorough. I just went a high level of reading. And then I started with the question bank, Q&A that has been provided by the SAPA. So what has happened, in this my first phase, I got to realize that what is my weakness, this was a self-analysis. So I got to know like domain one and domain two is something which I feel like I need to make more effort. I should give more time as well, like ChatGPT and all to have a reasoning and understanding. But I won't suggest to use AI because AI can't think from an auditor's point of view. So the answers that you will get in AI will not be the correct one. So you need to use your own analysis. Further, in phase three, I did a lot of revision. My revision was the key thing that I had started. So, my aim was to complete 100 question per day. So even though if I have, my tight schedule or I cannot give that day, but I make sure that I have at least a dedicated 3 to 4 hours every day for this continuous 3 to 4 months.
Hello everyone, welcome to CISA This Much. This is Aditya, and today we have with us Ramish, who has recently qualified CISA. Ramish, first of all, heartiest congratulations for qualifying CISA, and and you have also got a very great score. We will be discussing about that also soon. But before I ask you any questions, how are you feeling right now, qualifying this exam in the first attempt?
Yeah. So first of all, thanks Aditya, for giving me this opportunity. Definitely I am overwhelmed, proud, and very happy that I have achieved this CISA certification at my first attempt. So, I totally understand, like CISA will help me to understand few concepts and it will help me to grow in my career. And, thanks for your amazing lectures and mocks. Without that, it wouldn't be, possible to get this score in my first attempt. So, yes, I'm definitely very happy.
Uh, Thank you so much for that. It's equally your efforts too. Okay. Can you please introduce yourself, your background, and what made you choose this certification, CISA?
Okay, so myself, Mohammad Ramish. So I have completed my engineering in electronics and communication, and I started my career in one of the big fours. So I have overall 2.5 years of experience. I have a very diverse experience. So initially, I started my career in some different domain, but later I switched to TPRM and IT audit. So I have a very diverse experience in the sense, I have the understanding of, audit and risk management. Along with that, in my office and in my professional career, I heard about this, CISA certification. So I thought, okay, let me just dig more into it. And I wanted to know more about this field and more certification. So from the beginning, I wanted to be in a career where technology as well as business prospects are as a part of it. And I realized that this certification is something that will cater my skill and it will enhance my knowledge and it will add value to my career growth. So, I was like very rigid and determined, like I have to do the certification, in my first attempt.
Got it. So, did you have any requirement from your employer side that you need to do this within a span of like next 6 months or something like that, or was your decision okay? No, since I have started working in this area, let me do some certification so that it can enhance my career overall.
Yeah, so it was not like from the employer side. It was totally, my decision because I have done a couple of research about CISA, as well as I have seen a lot of, feedback about CISA, as well as, the market, like what markets, actually look right now in terms of IT audit or in the coming, years. So I totally understand its importance, like what it can, help me in my future. So it was totally my decision that yes, I should go for the certification so that, I can have a leverage in terms of, having this growth and knowledge and understanding.
Got it. Thank you for that. I also want to ask one more question here.
Yeah.
Since you have mentioned that initially you were into some other department in EY,
Mm.
and then you switched to this area TPRM and SOC 1, SOC 2. So I want to ask you this: like there are a lot of people who are currently working in Big Four, maybe in some other area, maybe in internal audits, or maybe as an external auditor, or maybe in some other department, and now they want to switch their career into this field. So do you feel that internal switching, because once you have the Big Four experience, is internal switching into IS audit or internal audit or TPRM or SOC 2 or these areas, is it easy, or is it again it's a difficult task to make this change?
I would say it is not that easy because, so when you go to the HR and tell them, or the manager, and go and tell them that I want to change into this domain. So nobody will, take you because they cannot take, randomly just because you're interested. You cannot be, absorbed in a team. You need to show certain skills. You need to show that, yes, you know something. So eventually, what I would suggest would be to have the basic understanding to certain certifications, like ISO or the basic understanding, that is available freely on the YouTube. You can take it a help, basic of IS audit, like how an audit is conducted, audit planning, what it is all about, internal audit, external audit, and basics of cybersecurity. Definitely, it is going to help you. So all this understanding, knowledge, and couple of certifications will help to make an internal switch. So I would say it's not like CISA. CISA will definitely make you, you will be the favorite person to be chosen by the team. But that's not easy, someone who's just looking for a change. So basic understanding, I would suggest, would be the first priority. First, understand the basic. If you feel like, okay, you are now ready and you should go for certification like CISA, definitely the person should go for it. And once you have the CISA certification, it will be more easy to do an internal switch. Otherwise, with the basic knowledge and the basic understanding, couple of low level certification will also help you to land up a job in internally. But yes, you should have some skills.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually agree with your all your points. That's a very good answer. My next question to you will be, so since you thought of, let me do this certification, and
Mm.
uh, how much time it took for you, since you are also working in Big Four, and everyone knows about this thing, the work
Yeah.
culture, the hectic life, which you must be having. So how much time it took for you personally to crack this exam, right from the date you thought, okay, let me do this certification, let me start exploring more about this cert, and till the date you actually qualified this exam?
Okay. So I will start from the beginning. So, initially my plan and my research about CISA started in April 2024. So, it was the time where I know that CISA syllabus is going to change. So I believe that I was at a point where in a dilemma. I should prepare, in with that enthusiasm, or should I delay for some time? So initially I did my research in April, May. Started, preparation in June, July. It was not a very rigorous or very serious preparation. It was just a couple of 2 to 3 weeks of preparation I made. After that, due to my certain, work commitments, I was not able to, continue my preparation for 4 to 5 months. After that, I started my preparation. The serious preparation I started is from November. So November was the time where I got to know about, courses, and I enroll in your course. And from that moment, I started my serious preparations. So November, December, and January. So I would say like total, I took around 4 months for the CISA preparation. So, if I would say like how I prepared, so primarily, I have uh, prepared in a phase wise, I would like to say that. So, like initial phase, my first phase of preparation was I followed a very standard, strategy that most of the people use, Like I started with the domain wise, video lectures. I moved to the CRM. So CRM, I didn't went, a very thorough. I just went a high level of reading. And then I started with the question bank, Q&A that has been provided by the SAPA. So what has happened, in this my first phase, I got to realize that what is my weakness, this was a self-analysis. So I got to know like domain one and domain two is something which I feel like I need to make more effort. I should give more time. And even in your lecture, repeatedly you said that these two domains are the something which will get down your scores. So I was like, I cannot take that risk at all. So domain one and two, I got to know like these are my weaknesses and I have to work more on it. Moving further, in phase two. So from phase one, I understand what ISACA, wants from me. That ISACA point of view as an auditor. So after that understanding, I started, revising and looking question from that point of view in my second phase of revision. In my second phase of revision, I was primarily looking all the materials. I watched the videos again, and I was practicing the questions, thinking and cross questioning myself, like whether why this is right and why this is wrong. If Isaka is telling this is right, then why they are telling this is right. For me, this is not the right option. I believe this is the right option. So, that everything was coming in my mind, and I used to ask a lot of questions from you. I remember a lot of people, I know who has helped me in throughout the journey. I used to cross question. I used to discuss with them, and couple of time, I have used AI as well, like ChatGPT and all, to have a reasoning and understanding. But I won't suggest to use AI because AI can't think from an auditor's point of view. So the answers that you will get in AI will not be the correct one. So you need to use your own analysis. Further, in phase three, I did a lot of revision. My revision was the key thing that I had started. So, my aim was to complete 100 question per day. So even though if I have, my tight schedule or I cannot give that day, but I make sure that I have at least a dedicated 3 to 4 hours every day for this continuous 3 to 4 months. So I was like, okay, after my work, after 9, 10, I have to be available from 11 to 3 a.m. in the morning, to practice the question, to revise the concept and continue, this journey, back to back. Because the moment there is a break, even 2 days break, I have realized I have started forgetting the concepts. So I thought let's not take that risk. Let's better to uh, plan in such a way that you never miss. So even if I miss some day due to such issue, I used to try to compensate that day on my weekend. Okay. So after this, I have a thorough understanding of the entire understanding of the concept. Then I started practicing the mock exams. After mock exams, I was getting not that good score, to be very honest. It was around 50 to 60% I was getting. So I was like, what should I do? Should I, take this exam or not? I was in that dilemma. So, but eventually I thought, no, I should be taking this up. So analyze like where I'm making the mistake, what are the concepts I need to revise. I go back, I revise those concepts, I come back again, I gave the mock exams, and slowly, like, by practicing like this, I was confident and I thought, okay, let me just go forward and give it another attempt eventually. So, in terms of challenge, if I say a challenge that I have faced is balancing your work, and definitely with your work, your personal life, and the certification is something which is very crucial. So you need to plan your entire study in such a way that you give at least 2 hours per day, and be consistent. That consistency is something which I would say play a very important role.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that detailed answer, and I want to highlight few things, which you have mentioned, like
Yes.
the last 2 3 months you actually devoted for your revision. You were actually revising 100 questions every day, right? I mean, this is something, which I normally I have spoken multiple times, in my lectures also, and also in all the interview which I take, that there is huge importance of revising and revision. It is like a game changer, and
Mm.
this is something which you must be realizing now,
Yes.
that like you can study a lot of things. You can
Mm.
study from multiple resources. You can study a lot of things, but the entire game will be that how much you are able to remember, and that too at that exam hall. When you are looking at the questions, are you able to recollect, this is, I need to apply this logic here, I need to apply this mindset here, and this is how I can crack this question. So all these things you will only be able to recollect when you have done your proper revision, right?
Mm.
And also the fact that, being consistent is also very important. So since you mentioned you have started, being consistent from the month of November, and you cleared the exam last month, right, in the month of March
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah. Feb end week.
Feb end week, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So and also, let me say this on camera, okay, or maybe you can go ahead and you can say your score. So what was your score?
So yeah, my score was 680.
680, yeah. So
Yeah.
I always say that, anyone scoring or crossing 600, that itself is not very easy to achieve. And a person scoring 650 plus, it means that they are ideally, under the rank holders list, maybe at your local chapter level, or at the national level, or at the international level. But that's for sure that a person crossing this benchmark of 650, they are at, the top rank scorer level. So when you were, giving the exam, like, did you feel
Mm.
in your mind that, okay, I can score 680? Not just 680. I mean, I can be scoring, really close to 600 or something like that. Like, were you confident enough? Okay, out of these many questions, I think I have answered uh, around maybe 120, 130, 140 questions, right? So I'm sure that definitely I'll clear the exam. That's not a question about. The thing is that I there's a high chance that, I might get a huge score, and I might be a rank holder. Like, were these thoughts in your mind when you were giving the exam, or when you were, especially the fact that when you click the submit button,
Yeah.
that the results will be right in front of you within a few seconds, and I can understand that tension, or, which you must be having the
Mm.
last few seconds, because you'll be clicking here and you'll be getting the results in front of you. So were these thoughts in your mind at that point of time when you were clicking on that submit button?
Yeah. So I gave exam. I went to the center and gave my exam. So eventually, when my exam started, the first question that came, I don't know that question. So I was like, my God, I am not aware what this question is. Uh, but it was totally, from new domain. So I remember my first question was from IoT. So IoT was something, which they have elaborated in the new syllabus much. It was not earlier that much, but in new syllabus they have elaborated IoT as a topic. I remember. I guess that answer, that elimination method. And I was able to, I think I was able to click the right answer at that time. I remember. So, couple of questions from question, I remember question number 1 to 50, I find was quite difficult initially because those questions were more confusing because options I was able to, figure out two best options. But again, the situation was which one is the right. Okay. So those 40, 50 question was something which I was like not confident. From question number 50 to 150, I was confident that yes, all these answers are correct. So I know that I am going to pass the exam at that point of view, but I was not sure like what score I am going to get because even if you know know the concepts are clear, but you don't know like which answer is correct as per the ISACA, right? So I was like clear like yes, my answers are correct. because my concepts are very clear. I used elimination method, all the tricks that you have told in your videos, all the practice that I did, all that has helped me at that point of time. So I was sure that I will be clearing, at least not I will be getting 450. I was that sure, but I was not expecting that I would cross 650, because I think that those one to 50 questions was something I was like more uh, it was I was not sure like whether those answers will be correct or not. But I would tell like what has happened actually in my examination center. I completed my entire paper in 2.5 hours. So of all the 150 questions I have completed in 2.5 hours. So question number 1 to 50 I flagged. A lot of question I have already flagged initially. And the questions from 50 to 150, I was sure that these questions are going to be correct. So from those 100 questions, at least 80 will be correct. So I was very much sure. So I was having 1.5 hours remaining with me. So I took those half an hours. I revised all those flag questions. I corrected a lot of question at that time because I realized that there were a couple of answers that I have in hurry because of time. Keeping time in mind, I have done a mistake and I just went and corrected those answers. After that, I have left with 1 hour, entirely 1 hour. I revised my entire questions, 150 questions, just from starting from question number 1 to 150. Over there, at that time I corrected two or three questions. Uh, and after that, the moment I clicked the submit button, I felt like at least I will be passing, but I never thought that this score I will be getting. So yes, it was a mixed experience, mixed feeling that time. Uh, like I don't know, like what score I will be getting because you never know, like whether your answers are correct or not. But yes, since I have practiced a lot of questions, my concepts are clear. I know all the tricks, I know the elimination, so I was confident that yes, I will be clearing at that point of time.
Correct. Yeah. And you know what? In fact, even I have, when I was sharing my experience when I cleared the exam that time,
Mm.
even I have mentioned in one of the video that initial questions sometimes they deliberately keep
Yeah.
it difficult because
Yes.
that see basically it's a trick with your mind because
Mm.
there will be a lot of people who will feel demotivated just by looking at the initial questions,
Mhm.
and that will definitely impact the other questions also, the other two-third of the paper, which will actually so I mean this is a lesson for everyone that don't judge the paper just because of the initial few questions, because it can never happen that the entire paper is difficult. Okay,
Mm.
there will be difficult questions, there will be easy questions, there will be medium level questions, there will be few questions as he mentioned which you must not be which is altogether new for you. I call that as out of box questions. So
Mm.
we need to understand that there will be all sort of questions, and just because the initial questions were difficult, you should not feel demotivated in the exam center, because trust me on this thing, if at the start of the exam journey, if you have that mindset that okay, maybe I'm going to fail in the exam, it's very difficult, so trust me, even you might be knowing other questions, but still you will make mistakes in those questions, and that can cost you a lot. And second thing is that you need to understand, as he rightly mentioned, that he was able to clear the exam. I mean, he was able to clear all the 150 question attempt all the 150 question in a span of 2.5 hours. One of the important reason, or the main reason, is that he didn't wasted his initial hours on those questions which were very difficult ones. He could have done
Mm.
that, and that could have maybe he would have cleared, or he would have attempted 150 questions maybe in 3.5 hours, and the last half an hour could have been very less for him to again go back and review those questions. And trust me, last 30 minutes, you should not, I mean you can keep last 30 minutes for reviewing those flag questions. However, it will be really good if you can have at least the last 1 hour. So if you finish the entire exam in 3 hours, and that can only happen if you haven't wasted your time for these questions, which you are sure that okay, this is not easy question, let me just flag this question straight away and let me move on to the next question. Now taking taking that decision is also very important, very important,
Mm.
when you are attempting these questions, in the exam center. And I have seen a lot of people making that mistake, spending a lot of time, and towards the end, they feel okay, they are having less time. Let me just increase my speed, and that's where you make mistakes, and that's where, and as he himself mentioned that, towards the end he realized that a lot of questions, those 50 questions, he actually changed the answers because he attempted those questions wrong. And it is but obvious because definitely he didn't put much attention to those questions. So that's a very good strategy which everyone should follow, and also we should in the exam center you need to be very positive. It's
Mm.
not that, just because of the initial questions you should not feel demotivated, right? So thank you for sharing about this detailed strategies. Any last piece of advice you would like to give to our audience who are the future CISA aspirants who are watching your interview? Anything you would like to mention,
Mm.
or anything you would want them to focus on?
What I would like suggest the as CISA aspirants is that practicing question is the key for the CISA success. Number one. Number two, you have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. You have to follow a study plan. That will help you to remain consistent. So I would suggest, initially spend every day, at least 2 hours, because if you miss those consistency, definitely you are, you cannot recollect the concepts, on the third day when you visit for revision. So again, you have to start your revision and everything from the beginning. So, that will take more and more lot of time for you. And, it will consume a lot of time, as well as I believe, you should, the mock attempt that has been provided, or those mocks, the both of those mocks will definitely help you to analyze yourself, like where do you stand. Okay, so definitely once you started getting 80% in your mocks, I believe that is the right time to go further and give an attempt to the exam. And definitely one should always keep themselves motivated, because as what I would say, I keep myself motivated. I used to watch certain videos of yours. I kept my mobile phone wallpaper as a CISA symbol. So so whenever I used to scroll something, I used to get in mind like, okay, I have to prepare for my exam. So that was something where I have kept myself motivated. So everyone should have that target, like I have to clear CISA. Keep yourself motivated, and practicing questions, be consistent, ask doubts. You know uh, I would say one more thing I would suggest: don't grab the concepts, or don't mug up the concepts, because CISA will not ask like what is IDS and what is IPS. They will directly ask, okay, now practical concepts from it. So that the thing I would suggest everyone uh, who is looking for this CISA certification.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much for sharing your entire journey with us. And again, I'm repeating, getting a score of 681. That's really kudos to you for that, because it's a great achievement, in itself. And maybe you might be getting a mail from ISACA very soon from your local chapter that you have got you are a rank holder, and a lot of people have got that. And again,
Yeah,
wishing you all the best for the future, and congratulations once again.
yeah. Thank you, Aditya. And your courses, I can clearly vouch that if anyone wants to have that end-to-end understanding of CISA syllabus, I think the mock, the way you explain in your videos, the lectures, those, your lectures, I can still remember, the way you try to explain, the concept, the last minute note. I would definitely say that has helped me a lot. And thanks a lot, for creating such an amazing course for all the CIS aspirants. Thank you
Thank
so much.
thank you so much, and it's equally your efforts too. And thank you for trusting the process, and wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aditya.